success, wealth, love, fitness. We all want it, but most of us don't know how to get it, or we're in our comfort zone and don't want to bother. Wake up! Snap out of it! Why are you settling? Why are you living the way you are? Remember when you were a kid and fantasized about being rich? About being a writer or playing the piano? What happened to those wishes? Real life, that's what happened. This is the only life we have as we know. Live it the way you want. Go to thehabitformula.com and learn how to regain the life you've always wanted. Go to thehabitformula.com right now. Hey everybody, you know what time it is. It's lunchtime with the Habit Master. I'm your host, Dr. Stephanie Aldrich, and I help people change their bad habits. When you change your habits, you change your life. Today's Business Wednesday, and we're going to talk about challenges that every small business owner has. If we talk about it, maybe you can say, oh yeah, I really need to focus my attention in 2020 on how to solve this issue. So we're going to talk about the top 10 that I found that I personally, have had struggles with over the past 20 years. So I've had my own practice for 20 years. It'll be 20 years in March coming up, so 2020. And every single one of these things I've had to deal with at some occasion. And I know there's a couple that are every year you struggle with as a small business owner, and you're going to struggle with them probably until you're not a small business owner. But there's ways that we can get around things. There's ways that we can focus our attention on and our resources on, and that will help to kind of lighten the load a little bit. So anyway, before I forget, make sure you grab a free copy of the Habit Formula book at thehabitformulabook.com. Go to the back of each chapter and fill out the questions. What it'll do is it'll get you rolling towards an awesome 2020. When you kind of tweak the things that you do, the way you believe, the way you think about certain things, well, I've always done it this way. And especially if you're a small business owner, we've always done it this way. That doesn't mean that it's the best way, the most efficient way, the cheapest way, the fastest way. It doesn't mean that that's the best way to do it. And there's always a different way, and I tell you exactly how to change things in this book. So grab yourself a free copy. Why wouldn't you? It's just dumb if you're not, right? Everybody wants to improve. You want to lose weight. You want to make more money. You want to hit some type of goal that you've never hit before. The book tells you exactly how to do it. So grab yourself a free copy today. So I was looking online about different challenges in that, and I kind of wrote down my own things. On 99firms.com, I found some statistics that I thought were pretty interesting about small businesses. Only 50% of small businesses survive 5 years. Now, when you think about small businesses, you're probably thinking about restaurants, mom and pop shops, that kind of thing. And that truly is a main part of that, of restaurants, sometimes retail businesses that, have a good concept, but maybe they're in the wrong location. Maybe they borrowed too much money and they can't make ends meet. There's so many things that can go on with why that they fail. But I just thought that was interesting that only half the businesses out there. I feel very lucky that I picked a spot at the time where there were a lot of guys retiring. The area that we were in was growing. There were a ton of new housing developments, and there's still more housing developments that are being built around my office within a 5-mile radius. So I feel very, very lucky that I was aware of my surroundings and I set up shop in the proper location, because I know that's a main thing. Location, right? that can really hinder a new business, especially when you're trying to take off and trying to make ends meet and you've got bills to pay and loans to pay off and all that stuff. And you're trying to kind of get yourself into, nestled into your environment, into your community as the place to go to. It really is tough. The first 5 years really are tough, so only half make it. 30 million small businesses are in the U.S. Half of those are owned by women. Now, you're going to think, well, that doesn't make sense, with bigger companies and that. We're talking about women that do things on the side too. There might be a Mary Kay consultant or a Pampered Chef consultant or something like that, where it's a MLM or networking kind of business, and that's included in these small businesses. So a lot of those people, only 26% even make $100,000 or more. So those are the businesses that are kind of lumped into this small business. I myself are included in a small business, even though we have more than one employee. 60% only have themselves. They don't have any employees. So I have 6, and then my side business, which has 0. It's just me doing everything. But, something to think about when you're trying to grow. You need to grow. In order to do that, you need to double what you're doing, what you're producing. And to do that, you need employees. So that's something that I know I've struggled with over the years, is when do I add somebody? Where do I add somebody? Like, how do I get people in so that they're busy and I'm not taking a hit on what I'm making, and that everybody can get seen when they want to get seen. 50% of small businesses are operated at home, and those are probably the ones that are more of a, side business kind of gig. The Mary Kay's, the Jaffras, the Pampered Chef kind of businesses. Most of them are operated by home. But when you think about it, is that really how you're going to scale your business? You got to get an office space. You got to have some area, not in your house, that people can meet and, do business with. I know for me, I have a huge office, and we have always a lot of people coming to see us. We go through 50 to 60 people a day, and we're constantly trucking in and out of people. So that's something to think about. If you want to scale your businesses, you do need a little bit of office space to conduct meetings and to do business in. That's not in your home, right? 26% of small business owners have college degrees, and that's it. Most people that own small businesses, they do it because they want to do it themselves. They want to be entrepreneurial. They think that they've found a business that, maybe their dad was a plumber, and he's like, yeah, you can do some interning or whatever, and you're off and running. You can take over the business. You don't necessarily need a college degree for that, right? Maybe a little business class or whatever, but you don't need a degree. Why are you spending money on something that you're not going to use? So that's just interesting. I thought that was interesting. So we're going to go over 10 challenges that we all feel at some point as a small business owner, and we'll kind of start thinking about ways of dealing with those things. And these are in no particular order, so don't think number 1 is the most pressing, because it's not. I think there's a couple of them in here that could probably go up to the top, and then other ones can, or things that aren't as important, but I just kind of listed them. Smallbiztrends.com also helped me with this list, okay? I kind of fed off of them. Number 1 is healthcare. Healthcare, providing healthcare insurance and benefits for your employees is a very humongous problem nowadays. Obamacare seems to be good if you're on the other end of it, but when you're trying to navigate through all of the laws that govern different Obamacare plans, it's atrocious, especially for small business owners. A lot of small business owners are going to either they're not providing benefits at all, or they're going to a cash basis system where they pretty much pay for certain costs of their employees' medical bills. And I know for us, I don't provide the benefits for my employees. It's too costly. They would rather have more money in their pocket and deal with insurance themselves or through a spouse. Most of my employees are either are married or they have benefits somewhere else. But healthcare costs are a humongous problem with the variety of plans out there and trying to navigate through all the laws and how much you have to have. And then you're dealing with the monopoly of the insurance companies of, okay, we don't deal with Ohio, we don't deal with California, we don't do this. And then they jack the prices up because there's no competition. At some point we'll get it right, and either it'll be universal or it'll be where companies can compete over any state line. They'll open up the floodgates, and that will definitely be better for consumers and employers. But until that time, we have to deal with what we have to deal with. Number 2, regulations. I'm talking about like environmental or, the health department or advertising regulations. I know in dentistry, they passed the amalgam separator rule through the EPA, so now I have to have a separate machine that separates the water for any kind of hard filaments that are sucked up into my vacuum as I'm, excavating decay and, dealing with people's mouths and previous fillings and crowns and that. And that's fine, but that's an added cost, right? So, the amalgam separator's about $800. I have yearly maintenance on it, and I have to submit paperwork to the Ohio Department of Water to tell them that I'm doing this. And it's a lot of administrative effort for one small task. That's one thing. I have x-ray equipment I have to deal with. I have dental equipment I have to deal with. I have OSHA regulations I have to deal with employees and keeping patients safe. I have taxes. I have, there's so much stuff that a small business owner has to deal with that it can become overwhelming. And the problem is, if I have to hire somebody to do that work for me, guess who gets to pay it? It's not going to be me paying it. It's going to be you as my customer paying it, because my fees have to be jacked up. I have to make a profit. To do that, I have to bill and bring in enough money on my products and services to cover the costs of just doing business. And then obviously I need to live. I need to pay my employees to live also. And that's something that the more regulation we have, everybody wants to be safe, and I completely understand that. But things are getting a little out of hand, and you're going to see more and more, especially in healthcare, you're going to see big conglomerates dealing with healthcare issues because they can afford it and they have enough employees that they can hire to take care of those efforts, right? I think you're going to see less and less of the mom and pop shops. You're not going to see a Dr. Aldrich, Akron Dental Concepts that only has one dentist. You're going to see groups. And, in the future, that could be an issue because you're never seeing the same person all the time. And then they want to do stuff you don't want to do. And, it's a whole issue. And I know patients that come see me, they already have dealt with that type of issue where some type of regulation, they go somewhere and they have to deal with something that it's just a waste of time and paperwork. So something we have to deal with, and oh well, you got to deal with it. Number 3, I think this is probably the biggest thing for anybody, whether you own a small business or not: taxes. Tax consideration. There's so many regulations out there for that. There's so many loopholes. I mean, as small business owners, you can benefit a ton off of the tax system as it is. There's tons of deductions that you can make, but you really have to make sure that you have a great accountant to help you, pay as the least amount of tax as possible and get the most benefit as possible. And that's where you really have to be careful on how you deal with your books, how you deal with customers, the receipts that you keep, and how you're filing all of your tax information to the government, the state, the local, all of that stuff. You really have to watch taxes. Even think of your supplies. How are you, worried about shipping costs? I know for me, I try to deal with companies that either they have free shipping for all of my dental supplies, or they, give me a break on the dental supplies because, you're going to be paying X amount for the supply, but then you have to deal with the shipping too. So, something to think about. Taxes is a very big thing. Make sure that you're planning your tax stuff. You can maybe prepay at the end of the year. You can, have training, pay for training for your employees that will kind of start you rolling on a higher note in 2020. Maybe you're hiring more people. Maybe you're pre-buying rent or, paying for supplies early to kind of get that tax write-off that every small business owner can enjoy. Number 4, something everybody deals with is the economy. Now, you watch the news, you watch, all the stories and all of that, and unemployment is this and that. It really doesn't matter what the whole thing is. As a small business owner, you're small. You're more than likely dealing with just your local community or maybe a few cities out, but you're not dealing globally with the economy issues. So, you have to kind of see what the economy in your own neighborhood is doing. Is it time to expand? Hey, it's booming. We've got tons of construction going on commercially. We have tons of construction going on residentially. How am I going to fit into this? This means more people are coming in. What does my business do? How can I service that both residential and commercial population that's starting to come into my area? That's something that it's either good or it's either bad. And you as a small business owner really have to keep yourself on trend and reading what are the regulations in the local politicians doing. What are the trustees putting their focus on towards the community? Because then, you can help your economy. How can you get out into the community and make yourself known and help out and go to different events for networking purposes? That's something, it all ties into the economy of what your local economy is, of what your business is having to deal with. Okay, so don't necessarily watch the news and worry about some big city that you're really not involved in or a national kind of thing. It really depends on what's the job growth, what's the commercial and residential building like in your area. If you start seeing more and more businesses are coming, or maybe younger generations coming in, what are they going to want? For me, they're going to want, cosmetic stuff. They're going to want electronics. They're going to want things to make their lives easier. It's all about technology with them. It's all about me, and being convenient. So that's something that you got to think about. Who's moving in, to your economy? How can you service those people? And that's how, as a small business owner, you can kind of, wiggle yourself around and offer them different products or services that maybe you never thought that you would do in your business, but that will help your economy too. Number 5, one of my favorites that we just kind of mentioned, deductions. Paying taxes, it's all about deductions. If there's a loophole, go through it, right? As a small business owner, we do have a lot of advantage over an individual or someone that's working for a bigger company because we can pretty much write off anything. You can even write off part of your meals, part of your travel, right? And writing off doesn't mean that you're writing off the entire amount. You're basically getting it tax-free. That's what a write-off is. You're not paying the 20 or 30% tax rate that you would as an individual. Okay, so to me, I try to buy as much stuff that I can through the business so that, I can enjoy the deductions. I know two big things that I've done personally is my main retirement that I'll be enjoying at some point in my life is based on two structures. One is residential real estate. I get so many write-offs from that, from investing in that, and any dividend that I get, I'm only paying the lowest tax bracket, which is 20%. That's what any type of investment, dividend type taxation is 20%. The second thing that I did was I invested in a whole life policy. And at some point, I'm trying to go through my friend that does that kind of thing. There's regulations that she can and can't talk about. So, we're trying to get a show together for you guys, because if I've done anything smart in my life, it's, especially in business and retirement and that kind of thing, it is signing up for a whole life policy, because there's intricacies that you have to put into the policy to make it work. But the one good thing is it's already been taxed. And no matter what happens in the future, up or down, and of course it's going to go up because I'm guaranteed, I think it's 4% a year, plus anything that the insurance company does with its investing, and I'm guaranteed part of that too. I'm not taxed on that. So when it's time to retire, I don't have to report it, nothing. It is my obligation with the private insurance company, and I can take out that money as much as I want. I could take the whole thing out and I'm pay zero on it. So what kind of deductions, what kind of loopholes are you looking for, especially as a small business owner? Can you lease your car through your thing, or any other vehicle, maybe your delivery service or something like that? Lease your vehicles, buy your vehicles through the company, and then you get a break on them, and the company can pay for them. There's so many things that you can write off: new equipment, supplies, rent. I mean, think of all those things that you go through and that you need. There's definitely ways to deduct them so that you're not paying as much tax on them. Number 6, this is something that everybody struggles with, and I do too: cash flow. Every business owner, and especially if you are renting or you have your own building or whatever, you've got fixed costs, okay? I have to pay my employees, I have to pay gas, I have to pay electricity, I have to pay rent, okay, or your mortgage bill for the building, right? And it's like, you don't know how much cash you're going to have. So, being an accountant as a small business owner is a very difficult and tricky situation. I don't know personally how many people are going to break teeth this month, right? So we're always constantly, I know how many people come in for cleanings, so that number's already been established. But I don't know what else I'm going to be doing. I don't know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. A lot of times things happen tonight or yesterday or whatever, and they decide to call tomorrow, and it's like, yeah, come right in tomorrow and we'll get you right in, right? But I have to be very, very careful. I might have a couple of months where everything's great, and then I might have a month or two that things get slowed down. Remember the law of rhythm. Everything has a cycle, right? Businesses have cycles too. And I talked about the business cycle earlier in one of the other shows. You can check that out on my YouTube channel. It's the business cycle episode. And as a small business owner, you really have to be careful with the cash flow situation. You want to make sure that you keep your doors open tomorrow because you don't want to take too much out or not have enough for when payroll comes and all the fixed costs. Number 7. Staying passionate. I know for me, I've struggled getting bored, right? You do the same thing over and over again. You see the same people. You have the same problems, blah, 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 right? Well, you got to keep your passion up. And I think to do that is you always have to try to reinvent yourself, try to reinvent your business. I think with looking at your local economy, seeing the new people, the new trends that are going on, trying to embrace technology. I know for me, I have a blast today just doing today's podcast. It kind of breaks it up for me. And it also helps me focus on different things. So today's Business Wednesday, I'm focusing on business challenges. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Cash flow, we're doing pretty good. Healthcare, I don't have to worry about. Regulations. I was just thinking about the one X-ray thing in my OSHA book that I'm going to be, upping for this year and having our training on. Taxes we're good on, but it makes me think about this stuff, right? And it kind of energizes me because I feel like I have an audience here that I want to help you guys. I want you guys to help me by looking at this stuff and thinking about how can I be better. And I think passion goes along with that. How can you be better? A better dentist, a better salesperson, a better mechanic, how can you be a better salesperson, right? There's always a way to be better. There's always people that have done something a little bit different, tweaked something, and have had great success. How can you learn from them and tweak your own stuff, right? I think that's what passion is about, is continually to grow, to gain experience and experiences so that you have some type of growth and that you keep the passion going, that you're not bored. Because it's very easy when you do the same thing, you do it the same way, you want to be efficient, you want to be effective, but then it's boring, right? You got to keep the wheels turning and try to use your imagination, creativity, do some marketing, do some different things, have new products, new services that maybe you never thought of before, to introduce to your company and your customers so that you're not bored. Number 8, diversify. What I mean by that is always be thinking of new things. I think that kind of goes along with the passion and losing the passion of your business or of your message over time. You hit 20 years. I'm going to be hitting 20 years here soon. You got to, try to get new clients, right? Try to maybe dive into new markets that maybe you've never dove into before, right? Or, hey, this new technology is, what? Nobody's doing it in our area. You look at the economy in your area and you're like, man, the marketplace is wide open. Let's start doing it. The good thing about being a small business owner is you could kind of gradually go into it. You may not have the budget for it. You may not have the time. You might not have the personnel to do it. That doesn't mean you can't start doing it. You can do things a little bit at a time, right? And then blow it up. Once the money starts coming in, your resources then come in, you can hire more people, and boom, it just explodes. So always think diversity. That helps with the passion, it helps with the economy, helps with cash flow because you're constantly renewing things. Customers come and go. For me, patients move, they retire, they lose their insurance, whatever. Sometimes, patients just have to go somewhere else, right? Well, we are always looking for new patients. They have different problems, new problems, the same problems, but they're just different people. And it's refreshing to meet new people, and it's refreshing to know that, I can deal with whatever new comes in to me because I try to keep up with all of the technology and changes that are happening in my industry. And as a small business owner, you can do that too. Number 9, growth versus quality. This is a major issue once you start scaling your company. You start hiring people to do the job that maybe you just did, right? Maybe you need somebody to do the marketing. Are they doing it the way that you want it to be done? Is the quality there with customer service? Are you getting people in on time? Are you following up with them the way you used to do? Is there a personal touch? Sometimes we want to automate everything, and there's so much automation nowadays that people tend to then ignore it. They tend to look over it, and they don't feel that connection with you or your product or service. And that can be an issue, especially with a small business. You cannot afford to be losing business because people don't have that connection with you. So I think we are a lot, competitive than the bigger companies because we have the personal touch. But that's not where the trends are going. The trends are getting away from personal touch and going to big conglomerates. And I hope that doesn't happen in dentistry totally, but I see more and more of the trends where big companies see dental practices, see medical practices, chiropractics, optometry, all of that. They see that as investment businesses. That's it. They are not dentists or medical professionals. All they're doing is seeing it as money for them, an investment. And they get away from patient care. They get away from that personality of, trying to help other people. And they're getting more and more away from it. So that's a trend that at some point is going to be a major issue in the U.S., where all these small mom and pop places, the little restaurants, it's all going to be, big companies that have, franchises all over the place, and, nobody really knows how to make an authentic, original meal, right? You want to put your own spin on things. That's what originality is. And to do that, you got to stay small. But when you do start getting bigger, you still have to keep that quality and that personal touch that you had when you were, just a little baby. Okay? Number 10, and this is a problem that has to do with growth, is new employees. You have to make sure that the quality is there, that they're trained properly. That takes time and money, right? That you can support them with the new products or services that you're now giving out into the community. And, new employees are always a gamble. Do they fit into the culture that you've built? Are they better? Are they worse? Are they bringing people down? Are they doing what you want to do? You have to get rid of them. There's always an issue with new employees that small business owners have to deal with. So, yes, we have challenges as small business owners, but, these are challenges that any corporation has, or just anyone that's dealing with other people, right? But there's things to think about. It's getting down, 2019 is slowly going away. We're going to be 1st of November here coming up this weekend, and we can deal with all these things, but you got to use your imagination and your persistence in keeping your doors open. So that's it for me today. I hope these 10 business challenges don't make you want to close your doors. I know you can do it. You just keep at it. Let's go over them real quick. Number 1, healthcare is always an issue for a small business owner trying to provide healthcare for their employees. Number 2, regulation. There's always something. You've got, federal regulations. You've got environmental regulations. There's always something. Advertising and marketing regulations. There's always someone wanting to tell you what to do. Do your best. Get around as much as you can and exploit as much as you can. That's the best I can tell you. Number 3 is taxes. Make sure you have an awesome accountant that knows all the loopholes that you as a small business owner can go through, so that you can get number 5, which is your deductions, and be able to provide as much care and service to your clients by you saving money and putting that money towards service and care for your clients. Number 4, though, is the economy. Don't just, listen to the news and say, oh, the economy's terrible. What's your local economy? doing? What is your neighborhoods? Are there a lot of new businesses opening? Is there a lot of people moving into the area and new housing structures? What is construction like? That's usually a good frame of mind to think about when you're looking at the economy. Open your eyes and look around. Is there new money being poured into businesses around you? Because if so, that means there's new people coming in, and that means you got to think about who are they and how can I service them with my business stuff, right? Number 6, cash flow. Cash flow is always an issue with small businesses, especially small businesses. If you're in the medical field or you're dealing with some type of insurance, cash flow is always an issue. Well, you got to be smart with your money. Use your deductions. Don't buy too much inventory. Don't hire employees until you absolutely are busting at the seam in a certain area of your business, so that you can keep your cash flow under control. Number 7, never lose the passion. If you're always looking around, seeing what's new, seeing what's different in your industry, trying to see what's new in the economy that's around you, then you can keep the passion. You can keep things fired up. You can keep introducing new ways of doing things, becoming a better person, a better business owner, and a better contribution to the community. Number 8, diversify. Always be thinking of new and better and different than what you have. Try to be first to the marketplace. If not, ride someone else's tail. Don't be last though. You want to be pretty close to being first so that you can ride the wave of prosperity. Number 9, growth versus quality. Every small business owner, when they start hiring more and more people and their business is growing, a lot of times the quality, the customer service goes down. Okay? Really focus attention on that and make sure that your customers are feeling the love from you and they're feeling a connection. Because if they don't feel connection, there's no loyalty and they're going to go down the street. Number 10 is just new employees. It's the same thing. You got to make sure the quality's there. And you got to make sure that you're not overstepping your cash flow, that they're there for a purpose, that you train them properly, and that they can build on the culture that you've already started. Okay, so that's it for me today. Thanks for watching. Remember, you can catch us on iTunes and Spotify. Look for the Lunchtime with the Habit Master episodes so you don't miss any. And then go to my YouTube channel or Instagram. Instagram and YouTube. Look for the Habit Master channel so you don't miss. I've got all kinds of different videos going on there that I post on Facebook. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and let's build good habits together.